Hello, I am Jay Stormer. Welcome back to the Profit Scaling Podcast. We talk about three main things here. We talk about vision, casting your vision to your team, to the people around you, into the world, and then bringing it into the reality. The second thing is velocity, doing things with speed towards a purpose. And last one's vitality, doing things for the long term, having a grander vision than just the here and now, doing things that scale, doing things that that not only build your health, but the health of the community, your family, your friends, and the world in general. Into velocity. When I talk about velocity, going towards something with a purpose, that's very important I'll just go into a company that I worked with. And this is a recent company. They had a huge deliverability problem. And what we did was we came in and we needed to systemize the actual deliverability. For this, it was a video editing company. And so what we had to do was I came in, things were already breaking, things were all over the place. And what we came in is the very first thing that we do is like, okay, what is the vision? Like, what do you want to like actually grow this to? How do you want it to work? What are the goals? What are the things that are non-negotiable that when people come in, it's like you want to create for them? So that was the first thing. They had no problem offering this. It was just on the deliverability side, which is super important because that goes into the word of mouth, which is how you actually scale your company, because then you reduce your customer acquisition cost. So we come in and I'm sitting down with them and we're brainstorming. They have like 55 projects in the actual queue. And it's like, okay, what are we gonna do? And the vision that they had is, well, they really want to fulfill well so that they'll keep on coming back, because there was a real big brand image associated with the company. So what we had to do was quickly whip up of like, okay, what are the main things that we need to get done? Like, who's the latest in the queue? Like, who's not received their deliverables, their edits first? Get them handled. How can we get them handled today? And so we handled them today, we got them a team, and then we hired an offshore team just come in and supplement the in-house editing team so that we'd be able to get the edits out in a timely manner. As well as getting, like, if more projects came in, systemizing that. So that's the velocity thing of like, okay, what do we need to do immediately to work towards that vision of delivering excellent and like great results for the clients that we already promised to, even though we're late? So how do we continue to get on that promise? And then once that was finished, then it was coming back in and being like, okay, now that we got that, the velocity is only going to get better with a system. So we set up velocity profit systems, which are systems that automate, delegate, elevate people to be able to do things at velocity. So the ultimate goal is getting edits out in 48. It's like, great, we'll set a KPI for that, and we'll tie it to, because if it was just just getting the edits out, it wouldn't, like, where's the quality in that? Where's the long-term vision? Where's the vitality of just doing something quickly? No, the purpose is to actually create something quickly, but at a quality level so that more people will come back and that they'll invite their friends back and they'll invite their friends into it. So that's what we established, a dual KPI, and had it be both the quality and the quantity metric. So how fast was the edit done, as well as how good was the edit on a ranking of 10 out of 10, with how, like, did it have to have like a lot of different edits when they sent it off to the client and the client was like, no, we need this, this, and this done. The less like editing and revisions there were, the higher quality that was. So it actually grew the efficiency. So not only are they working on lowering the time it actually takes and developing systems and using AI and new tech to actually reduce that time and automation, but we're increasing the quality at the same time so that when they deliver to the client, it's already like amazing and there's barely anything that they can comment on. They're just surprised, delighted, and can't wait for the next edit. So actually going into the AI component of it, it's really cool. So for editing podcasts, the system that we ended up setting up is there's awesome AI software called Autopod that if you have multiple different angles of people, if you have like two speakers, you can literally just plug this into Autopod, which I believe it works with Adobe Premiere. And then you're able to, it automatically cuts like in 5 minutes, pairing the audio with the actual video. So it cuts to whoever's speaking. And it saves like 2 hours of work. So what usually would have taken, an episode being edited in like 3 hours, we got down to 1 hour. So that's just one example. The other example is actually using templated transitions as well as templated like intros, outros, banners that come across the screens, and actually having things that just be templated. And in general, the really cool thing is you can actually apply this to a lot of other areas of the business. If you're able to use something to systemize a process that would regularly take a lot of manual effort, you notice a lot of manual effort, look for an actual AI tool or how you could use even GPT to make that approach a lot simpler. That cuts out like 80% of it, so you can just focus on the 20% of just making little edits here and there. And yeah, that's the biggest one. I mean, some other cool AI softwares that like a lot of people have heard of are Opus Pro, where you can just go in and it'll clip the shorts. We found it doesn't get the most effective shorts, so that our editing team actually goes in and it does the cuts, it does the zooms, and it does the edits themselves. We found that for the clients, that's actually like, that's what they're looking for, the deliverability on them, because usually the clients are, have 100,000 plus people seeing their reels, and they just filmed an episode on their podcast that's going to get thousands of downloads. So having it be of the highest quality, AI isn't quite there yet, but of course there's ways to like auto caption it and all this other good stuff that you can use for the automations there. But it's really cool when we're talking about automations and AI, of how you can effectively like pair it with almost every area of the company. Because even for like ideas or anything like that on leadership or anything, if we identify an area, so let's say it's like lead generation isn't doing that great, even like doing it in a brainstorming session and just using AI to generate the ideas can really speed up the time to execution, as well as just speed up the ideas into implementation, which is the whole purpose of velocity. Going back to that, is execution. It's not just the strategic plan, because obviously you need a strategic plan, you need to know like what's winning, which is the KPIs or the goal, and then but the execution towards a specific purpose, that's the most important thing. And how do I come in, our team come in and make sure that the vision is translated from the actual leader of the company, from the visionary, from the founder, from the CEO, to the actual company, so everybody knows what the actual vision is, because sometimes it won't be dispersed. So the first thing is actually talking with the leader and being like, hey, what is the vision? Because a lot of times they may have it, but they haven't actually articulated it. And that's the most important thing, is the visionary, the founder, the leader being able to clearly articulate the actual vision. Like for us, our vision is to turn like other people's visions into reality. This is why Velocity is our name, and why we just live by that. Is like, it's all great having a vision, but then translating it into a strategic vision to be able to execute on it and bring that into reality, that's the most important thing. And having the framework to actually be able to do that quickly, efficiently, and effectively. So that's the first thing, is just getting the articulation of it and getting it written down. Once we have it written down, we have a one pager where we basically just go through and we break it down into a strategic vision. So what that is like, okay, what's long-term, like what's 10 years out, what's 5 years out, what are you seeing for the vision of the company, what are you seeing 3 to 5 years out, what are you seeing 90 days, and then what are you seeing on the monthly? And then we can actually break those down into actionable steps to be able to translate to the team of like, hey, here is where we're going. Like, this is the vision, this is what we're creating, this is the values that we live by. And it's broken down into manageable sizes, because if it's too far out, if the vision's too grand, Elon Musk is a great example of this. If the vision's like super clear of establish like a multi-planetary species, which is, and then like the very practical is like establish a base on Mars. So with that, it's like super simple. But then it's like, if there's nothing else from that, it's like, okay, well, how do we strategically like make that happen? And so guaranteed within the actual company of SpaceX is the strategic goals of like, okay, what's the 5 year, what's the yearly, what's the monthly, what's the 90 day, and what are the KPIs to be able to hit those? Like, what are the actual goals? SMART goals, like name them whatever you want. But that's the actual strategic part of it. So that is, and then translating it to the team, because the craziest thing is companies may have this, like, and if you have this as a company, you're way far ahead, because a lot of people just have some vision and they tell the team like, oh yeah, this is what we're going for the month. It's like, but like there's no context of like why we're aiming for 200K in profit this month or 200 million this month. If that's the goal, it's like, well, like, okay, what does that mean? Like, we just make it up on our own of what our action items are? And so when you translate that into a strategic vision, then it's letting the team know, it's like, hey, here's the strategic vision and here's the owner of each goal. And that's the most important thing, is actually tying a person's name to be held accountable to the actual goal. That leads into the ultimate vision, the ultimate 10-year plan, 100-year plan, whatever that ultimate vision is. And that's how we translate it to the team, is make it super visible so everybody knows what we're working towards. No matter what department you're in, you know this is where we're going. Even if you're in finance, even if you're in the just a management role. It's like, you know what you are managing towards. You know the North Star. You know where the company is going, and you know how you actually contribute to make that happen. So those are the most important things where we come in and both. So again, breaking it down, 2 simple, easy steps. First thing is, as a visionary CEO, write it down. Make it plain. It actually tells it in the Bible, Habakkuk 2:2. Write it on a tablet. Like, make it that plain and super big so everybody can see it. Once you do that, then it's translating it to the team and tying it down into the actual manageable steps. And then tying someone's name, a very specific person, one person, to each of the goal or line items that you have leading up to the ultimate goal. And that's how you do it. Vitality, how do we actually strategically implement that into the company so that not just the company is taken care of, but the the people of the company are taken care of, the clients are taken care of, and the world in general. Because when you're doing anything, at least the companies that I work with and our company works with, it's most important that whatever you're doing is good for the people that you're serving, good for you and the team, good for the family, and good for the world at large. I'm not interested in working with companies that have no vision that creates a win-win scenario for everyone. If you don't have that, then don't even bother looking to work with us. We specifically work with visionary companies that are creating greatness for not just themselves, but the world in general, and all of the teammates that they have on that team. Because there can be some great, fantastic companies that take care of their clients and treat their teams absolutely horribly. So not interested in working with any of those, no matter how much. You can't even pay us to work with those types of companies. Because it goes into the longevity of it. The vitality of the actual company is tied directly into the core values of that company. And so that's one way that we systematically go about it, is tying down, is like, okay, what are the core values, and does the company, do the employees, do the team, do the leaders actually live by those values? And establishing those values and then creating a system of accountability, that's how we're actually able to scale in vitality. Because then it's like, hey, are these great values? And then are we holding to those great values? Because when there's dissonance and when there's problems within companies, it's because a lot of those values have been lost, or the values weren't even great in the first place, and it ends up breaking because the values were not established for the long term. This is the reason why ours are vision, velocity, and vitality, because if you have even just 2 of those, then you neglect one of the entire picture. So there's some great, it's actually super recommended. That's why I went through this and look up online what the actual values are of a lot of the different well-known companies, and it's really cool to see them, and it can inspire you, because one of Facebook's is move fast and break things. So very similar to velocity, fantastic value, except it actually led to a lot of trouble when you start breaking things on a little hackerish scale. When you get into a lot of, when you're a huge company, you can have a lot of trouble when there's data security breaches, because things weren't done with vitality and the long term in mind. You're just like, yeah, just get it up. So that's what it's important to have that vitality and systematically do it through the values that you have. So that's just one of the ways that we do it, is making sure everybody's held to the standard of the values that are set within the company, including the leaders, because the leaders lead in those values. And that's one of the most important things, is if you're the leader of the company, especially as the visionary, you need to uphold the values. You need to be the highest standard of the values, because you're literally the company is an embodiment of what your values actually are. Look at any of the visionary leaders. Look at Elon, look at Mr. Beast, look at Mark Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos. And all of them are like, when they were the visionaries of the company, which some of them still are, they like, the company is an extension of their values, and that lives on. That's distributed through the entire organization, especially when you have a visionary leader that's in front of like the camera, that's on the news, that's giving interviews, that's making their presence known, which on like is one of the hugest things, is actually having a all hands meeting and actually making your presence known to all the company's teammates and the employees. And the reason why I use teammates instead of employees, because a team can do a lot more, whereas an employee is just an individual. So going more personal, into the discipline of velocity. So one of the things was right out of college, I had shut down the gym business. We actually sold the CrossFit that I had helped start, family business. Me and my dad had started a CrossFit gym, and then we ended up selling it. And then, anyways, after college, I went into work in wealth management for a fairly large startup. It was a growth startup in the fintech space. They were actually acquired for $1 billion. It was called Personal Capital. They were acquired by Aspire Financial, I believe, or Empower Financial. And what was really interesting was I was brought into their sales team and to systemize the actual sales team. So what was so basically it's cold calling people that was lead generated with the app. So basically people would come in and they'd have the app and they would download it, and it could help manage their finances. You could see everything in one spot. So it's great. So, and then what we would do is we would call out, like cold call these people who had downloaded our app. So it's not really cold call, it's like, warmish calling, to set up appointments with a financial advisor for a free financial advisory session. I think I could probably pull out the pitch. I'll see about pulling out the pitch and after we go into the actual systemized process of it. So I came in onto the team, and they had the script, and it wasn't it was okay, but I wanted to because they had the intro, and then you'd overcome the objections, then you'd set the appointment, etc., etc. So common cold call script, and that's what I'm trying to remember the script. Is hey, this is Jay Storm with Personal Capital.
That's a fascinating transition, Jay. From running a CrossFit.
Hey, this is Jay from Personal Capital. I noticed we had some, I think it was financial insights into your portfolio that we wanted to share with you on a 15-minute advisory session. Do you have 15 minutes tomorrow to go over this? I think that was a pitch. I don't know. That was probably better than the actual pitch.
Jay. It's direct and to the point.
I keep on being interrupted by my co-host, the AI.
And what techniques did you use to handle any of...
Shh, quiet. So, anyway, so going into the actual system of this, it was, we would dial, I think that the minimum was 180 dials a day. And with that, you'd get 15 pickups, and you could set 2-3 appointments if you're good. So I was okay, how do I make this more effective, efficient? So I would go in and basically systemize the actual sales process. So instead of just having on the phone there, as soon as someone picked up, I jump out of my seat and go and interject, hey, hey John, this is Jay Storm. We had some remarkable insights into your portfolio that we just pulled. A financial advisor is ready to meet with you and wanted to have 15 minutes so that we could share these insights into your portfolio in 15 minutes. Do you have tomorrow available? I don't know. It's that's not the greatest pitch. You're just pulling that out of my head. But basically got it down where I would basically walk and by the end of the pitch, I'd end up back at my desk. And more likely than not, instead of having to go in and it's long conversation, this and that, at the end of it, they'd be oh yeah. And I would just do this on repeat again and again and again. And nobody else followed this. It was just me who just developed this systemized approach. And that's the really cool thing, is systems don't always have to be automated or with technology. It can actually be a way of doing things that separates you, that gives you an edge, that allows you to be more effective and more efficient. Because from 180 calls, I could get 7 appointments booked, which is over 200% what the average if you were good are. So this allowed me to just go up all the ranks of the salespeople. I think I set the most, like I broke the record for the newest person that came in and setting the most of the entire company that had been around for like 5-7 years at this point. So again, growth startup. And then basically I started training the guys that would come in to do it like me, and we all started accelerating because it was a very toxic culture. It was just like, you know, pitted people against each other and that. And I'm very collaborative, like obviously, because like if we win, like then it's way better for everybody. Like we can grow together and you can grow faster together. So I digress, and that's just one way of systemizing. So with that, we'll end it there with the story of that. And the really cool thing with that is, yeah, after a year, I was able to systemize the entire sales process with the SDRs and setting, and then go in and leave that company and go straight into building out sales teams with automations for the other company. So there was a couple other fun things that I did there. How you answer the customer service lines. People like literally wouldn't answer these customer service requests of people like asking for their passwords. These like 60-year-old people. So basically what I do is, you know, you get like 100 requests a day and nobody would be picking up the phone, and they just send, I'm like, I'm just gonna start helping people. So I just started picking up the phone. I was like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, of course. So I'm like, well, at least I'm talking to people instead of like having to dial, you know, 30 times to get like one person to pick up. Like I know I'm going to be talking to someone and can help them. And so I'd help them. And a lot of times, like, you know, they wouldn't have the money to invest because we had a minimum investment of, I think it was like 100,000 or something like that. And so I'd help them out and like, oh yeah, no, it's super simple. We can get you back into your account. No worries. You're just going to go to this page. You're going to press the reset button. And what's cool is on the CRM, I could see how much, if they were qualified or not. And I could qualify them straight on the phone of like, oh yeah, I see it says here, it's like you have like 60,000 in here. Do you have any cash or like a 401k, IRA, anything like that? And so I'd hot qualify them on the phone and then literally same day set them with the advisors, because a lot of times advisors were already assigned to the leads that were calling, so I could only set on like their schedules. I would hot set these the same day and we get paid out when the appointment actually shows up. So literally I go straight into helping them to hot setting them that same day to where they'd show up, because like I literally just helped them, added their value, and then would give them more value. It's like, hey, as a courtesy, like we have a 15-minute insight, like 15-minute, I forget what it was called. It was some like dashboard session or like financial insights into your portfolio. And so I set them and they'd show up with to the meeting and we'd be good to go. So yeah, that's just a fun way. And then they were bought out and acquired for $1 billion plus, and moved on with my life into systemizing teams, and then going into eventually what I do now, which is not just systemizing like one team, but systemizing running of the company, so that you as a visionary leader are able to do things at scale the entire team, scale the entire organization, and know that people are actually held accountable. So when you're scaling up, it's like management doesn't have to like, you know, you don't have to be managing a ton of people and anything like that. It just simplifies everything. With that, it's a wrap. So if you're interested, I'm always excited to interview people. And that'll wrap it up for the Profit Scaling Podcast. If you're interested in coming on the podcast, being interviewed, then of course, contact me, hop on a call, follow me on the Instagram, and I'll see you here.